So, if you are going to be offended for what I'm about to talk about, swallow your pride and learn from it. It's very simple. So what we're talking about today is prioritization of your goals. And what I mean specifically is, whatever your goal may be, understanding how to prioritize that as being the actual goal, not just something that you say is a goal and then you kind of push off the back burner and you let other things that aren't as essential get in the way. So in this case, let's talk about the obvious here, is being able to afford classes, right? Now a lot of people seem to think that I just kind of arrived here and just started, I guess, demanding money for classes. I was exactly where a lot of you guys are. Got out of the military, went to college, and again, had numerous jobs while in college, having to pinch pennies to afford ammo, having to take time off of work, unpaid time off of work to attend classes, and there were a lot of sacrifices involved. You know, I couldn't go out every night. I couldn't maybe get a coffee every day. Like all these extra things that we kind of expect after time to be a normal everyday thing, that stuff adds up. And these things we kind of take for granted, right? Simple things like going out to eat, maybe at lunch every day when you go to work. Cigarettes, it's a whole different story. I understand it's an addiction, whatever it may be, but again, I know plenty of people that have had addiction and was able to quit it. So again, we're not here to talk about that, okay? That's completely subjective and up to you, but I can tell you from experience and seeing family members as well as good friends of mine being able to go cold turkey on certain things, even worse than cigarettes, in my opinion, it's possible. It just takes will. Coffee, right? Getting coffee every day, that adds up. Now, obviously, if you can afford these things and still get to your goals, whatever your goals may be, or again, in this case, talking about afford classes, then all the more power to you. Awesome. You obviously live a much bigger life than most, so good on you for that. But again, for those who can't, again, it's going to take some sacrifice, right? Living overall is hard, okay? Nobody said living is going to be easy. Dying is easy, okay? Whether that be dying from some type of disease, cancer, for instance, right? The people that I know personally that have beaten it, they are the hardest motherfuckers I have ever met in my life, because they decided that they aren't going to be a victim. They decided that they aren't going to become another statistic, and they are the hardest people that I know because they were able to fight against the odds, fight against a disease that was really killing them from the inside out. Dying from some other type of sickness, whether it be some type of mental sickness, right? Depression, drug addiction, okay? Dying is essentially the easiest way out of that. And again, I know this from personal experience as well as friends, good friends of mine, that have either taken the high road and chose to fight, or taken the easy way out and decided that it's not worth it anymore, okay? Or maybe some other type of catastrophic injury in their life. Again, I know plenty of friends of mine who have literally been in the blast radius of an explosion and have lost limbs, legs and arms. And I'm sure laying there in the middle of fucking nowhere, Afghanistan, would have been easy to just die. But they decided again to fight, to continue, to go through months of therapy, multiple operations, deal with infections, deal with things that would kill most average men. And they survived. Why? Because they embraced the aspect of adversity. So, yes, living is hard. There's no way around it. And yes, I understand that things come and get in the way, family emergencies. Life has a crazy way of kind of sprouting up its ugly head when we least need it to. But again, if something is a priority for you, if something is a priority like getting out and understanding how to employ and utilize effectively a firearm in the context of being able to fight and bring yourself, your family members, your loved ones, and your team members home at the end of the day, then you'll find a way. And I'm sure that if it's not, then you'll sure as shit, without a doubt, find an excuse. Okay? Now, this isn't just going out to me here. I have plenty of other friends that are teachers in this industry that encounter the same problem, where we get DMs from people asking for discounts for classes. And again, I understand you just want to ask, that's fine, okay? But when it comes down to it, whether it be for a training company, whether it be for a products company, okay, and especially in a small business sense, a small entrepreneurial startup sense, okay, people don't understand that when myself, or again other trainers that I have in my circle, when we go out to teach, the money that you're paying, it's not going 100% back to us. And I think that's where a lot of miscommunication comes from, or a lot of misunderstanding. When I go out personally, all right, I know a lot of other people sometimes do it differently, but for myself, when I go out to teach, I'm paying for my flight, luggage fees, which are usually expensive because I need to bring sometimes overweight stuff, food at the airport, food while I'm there, motel, hotel, rental car, parking for when I left my vehicle at the airport. All these things add up. Okay, so at minimum, I'm easily shelling out $1,000 before I even, or let's just say I'm shelling out about $1,000 just to get there and feed myself and get to and from the range, as well as to rest my head on some type of pillow. And then there's sometimes additional things like paying for range fees, okay, for the range that I'm using, paying some type of overhead. So again, all that money is not going directly back to me. Very little of it. A lot of classes I go to, still, I'm barely breaking even, with being all honest here, right? And that's not to paint a negative picture on me or my company. It's to say that I really don't care, because I want you guys to get the training, but don't just come and complain to me or, again, other companies when stuff is expensive, because, again, you're not seeing probably the entire picture of things, okay? Now, obviously, I still do discounts, right? Not as many as I used to. Reason being is that I didn't want my potential customers to get into a habit of only purchasing classes just when the sales come. I want people to understand, be able to support other entrepreneurial startup companies, that your money is not only just going back to me to feed this one right here, okay, to feed my kids, my wife, keep a roof over my head, okay, all these things that you're supporting, okay, it's not going back to some giant conglomerate where the money just disappears, okay, it's going back to things that I hold very dear in my life, okay. Now, obviously, with other companies that support me, okay, I usually have some type of code with them, yes. And usually all that stuff's all on my website, And they're usually bigger companies, so they can deal with stuff like that. Okay, so, again, if you're feeling offended by this, it's not anything bad. It's just so that you guys can learn and understand from it, right? Being able to prioritize those goals, as well as trying to understand the bigger picture of things, that, again, it's not just all going back to me. So that's all I want to kind of leave you guys with. Have a great rest of your day. Go out there, crush it, and get to support those goals, right, Faith?